Hi guys, and welcome back to the Tegiwa YouTube channel. We've got a really exciting video today because we're actually modifying our own cars for once, and we're joined by Matt. As you can see, we've got a couple of Infiniti auto design boxes in front of us. You want to tell us what we're doing?
Yeah, so we have two carbon fibre intakes to fit today to our own cars, which is great because we've been fitting them to Civics, we've been fitting them to GR86s. They've always been great, and we've had these boxes here for about a month now. Been looking forward to fitting them. Must say, Dave's box is a bit bigger than mine. I don't think that'll matter. I think
It's how you use it, isn't it?
that's right, that's right. So let's have a look at our cars.
I looked at my car.
I looked at my car.
So this is my 2008 E93 M3. It's an E93 because I like to feel the wind rush through my hair when I'm driving. And as you can see, it's got the 4-litre naturally aspirated V8. So it's an S65, which is the engine code. And yeah, I'm told by the owner of Infiniti that the intake is going to sound like having an exhaust at the front of your car. So I'm really excited to hear what that sounds like. All the air, you're going to get way more air in because I believe this inlet here is the restricted part of this intake. But you know, as everybody knows in the E92 community, it's a really well designed piece of kit and you often don't see gains anyway, but I'm told it's got like a bigger bore. Yeah, excited to see if we get some more performance gains on the dyno, but we know for a fact it's going to sound absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to win when it comes to the noise game, isn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
They sound fantastic.
Yeah, so let's unbox the intakes and see what's inside. Just unbox this one, and first thoughts are it's flipping massive.
Hang on a second, Dave. I need to give you your certificate of authenticity there.
Thank you, sir.
There you go.
I'd like to thank my mum, my dad, kids, wife, everyone that put me here today.
Your kid's wife?
My kid's wife. It looks absolutely hench, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a big bit of kit, which is good. Lots of volume, that's good. There's loads of factors that go into making naturally aspirated engines perform at their best. So a big volume of nice cold air is what you want to start with. And we've also got this part here, which replaces that flexi that Dave was talking about as being restrictive on the car. So it's really nice and smooth inside on this Infiniti part here, which is great. So it should aid flow, and we want to get as much air in there as we can because we're naturally aspirated, and it's only, you know, the pressure of the outside air pushing that air into the cylinders. We want to make it as easy as that, you know, as easy as possible for that to happen. So when we've got 4 litres, we want to try and ram 4 litres of air in there. And yeah, any sort of restriction along the way is gonna reduce that.
Like Matt's as well, we've got the nice plaque here with a serial number. It feels kind of an exclusive thing to have, doesn't it?
It's a nice premium touch for sure.
It's nice that this duct is all like one piece, unlike the OEM one. But anyway, we're going to put this one onto the dyno first. We're going to see what it's making stock. The car has got primary decats and it's just got a 2-pipe back box mod. Other than that, it's stock, it's not tuned or anything. So let's get it on the rollers and see what we're making. Okay, so we've just dynoed my M3, and as you can see, it's made 399.2 horsepower. This dyno is a bit of a heartbreaker for E92 M3s. We've seen some coming in making 370-ish. My old one made 386, so I'm really happy with that on this dyno. Slightly upset it didn't quite crack 400, but hopefully it will after. The graph's looking great. So yeah, overall, really happy with how it's performing stock. Gonna hand it over to Matt now, and he's gonna put on the Infiniti intake. So let's go and do that.
Now that we've had the E93 on the dyno, we're ready to fit the airbox. So I've got the airbox ready to go. I've just taken the top of the airbox off because you need to do that in order to put the filter housing in when everything's in place. So what we'll do first is we'll just take the standard one out. And to do that, we need Torx 20 to get these 2 little bolts out here for this little front section of the airbox, like the feed. And then after that, it's pretty quick. We've got 2 10mm bolts here. We've got the breather clamp here, or clip here, that we just pull off. And then we have these 2 Jubilees that we undo. So as you can see, the rest of the airbox is in one big lump. So by taking those two other bits out first, gives us a little bit more room to sort of wiggle this one out. It's not too complicated. It just pretty much unbolts from here, and it's got a little locating tab underneath, and then just pulls out. Okay, so now this airbox is out, we can see where it feeds from. We've got this little locating tab, which is also on the bottom of the Infinity there. We have a feed from the bottom, which goes in this triangular hole here, down to the wheel arch. And we have this one through the top, which is another reason why this sounds so great, because that comes straight out of the bonnet here. So really easy for you to hear. So first thing I'm going to do, just make sure everything's nice and clean. Nothing's going to get into where, you know, the air path after the filter. Then I'm going to put the big main airbox in. So as I put this in, I'm making sure this triangular part here goes into this little feed down here. And then this part here locates on this little rubber bung that's just on top of the chassis leg here. And as long as those two are in place, then these two holes here should line up with these two perfectly. I've just put that bottom half of the airbox in there just by a few threads, just so that if we need to move it about a bit, we can. So this Infinity airbox replaces this whole section here. So we can get a quick sneak peek of what it's going to be like just by laying that across there like that. So that's where it's going to sit. We've got the filter, which is going to end up in here. So I'll just pop that on now. I did take that all apart because I wasn't sure how this part got into this part. So we'll pop the filter on. I'll put this in with its joiner, and then we can put the lid of the airbox on. Then we're pretty much done. So as I put this in, I'm just going to double check the orientation of this clip, because what I don't want to do is put it somewhere where it's going to be in the way of the airbox lid or whatever else. So let's just rest this in here. And I think if we just move that round slightly, we'll be absolutely fine there. So I'll tighten it up there while it's sat in there, and then I'll get the joiner on. So these just use a 5mm Allen key to tighten it up. You really don't need to go too tight on these because you're only tightening up carbon fibre. So we don't want to hear any creaking or cracking on that. That's plenty. That's not, you know, the filter's not going to fall out at that. To loosen them off just a touch. So that's the little joiner on there. I'm going to drop this in. We've got to do three things at once. So we've got to get it into there. We've got to get this onto this part here, and we've got to line up this nicely inside the main airbox. So I'll do this bit first. Just clips on nicely like that. Get it into there. There it goes. And then make sure we're sat nicely in there, which we are. So now that that's in the airbox nicely, what we can do is we can make sure these clips are happy, tighten them up, make sure everything's as it wants to be, tighten these two 10mm, then put the airbox lid on. Again, with these, we're only tightening these Jubilee clips around carbon fibre here and whatever this GRP plenum is made from, so we don't need to go mega tight. As long as it's not coming out, which it isn't, then that's absolutely fine. So again, we'll just make sure that's happy, then we'll tighten these two 10mm and we'll put the lid on. Okay, it's really nice. Okay, so now we'll put this lid around the actual filter part of the airbox. Okay, so that's the main airbox in, really nice and easy, everything fits together, even these little 2.5mm Allen key bolts that can normally be a bit of a faff to get in, you have to lean on that, not with this, it's been absolutely brilliant. So the next thing we're going to do is just pop this back on with this feed to the front of the car. And Infinity have supplied this 3D printed part here to do that with, so we'll just grab this one and it replaces this little plastic bit that slides onto there. So we'll get rid of that. Right, the intake is all fitted now. Quick mistake that I made. This needs to go in before this. This is just too big and the gap's too tight to get this in properly. So here's the order in which you fit it. You fit the bottom of the airbox first, then put this back in, then fit this, and then put the top in, and then tighten everything up after everything's in, especially this little 3D printed part here, which replaces a little sort of guide tube for the intake air coming in. So yeah, so Dave's not seen it yet, so let's see what he thinks of it.
Hi everyone. Oh, oh, shiny. Yeah, it's proper. It's big, isn't it?
It is big, yeah.
The intake's not bad either. Wow.
It looks like it's going to sound good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like here, you haven't got that sort of 90 that there was on the stock one.
Yeah, you can see that it really sort of smooths it out.
Yeah, it's so big. Need a Plenum.
Need a Plenum, yeah.
Infinity, give us a Plenum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks awesome, doesn't it, underneath? It's really good. And you've got a feed here as well, look. Mm-hmm. That's nicely done, isn't it?
Yeah, nice little bit of branding there. And also, it's in the lacquer
I saw that, yeah, there's like a raised
like
Infinity logo. Yeah.
Really nice.
This is going to be nice. Pop the hood. Pop the bonnet, because I'm English. Hood if you're American, but I'm English. Yeah. People are going to be like, damn, Daniel.
So, should we take this out for a drive?
Yeah, let's do that before we dine it. That'd be good.
Let's see what it's like.
Yeah. Obviously, because we got E93, no other way you drive it than with the roof off. We have to take the roof off. It's the law. Isn't that right, Matt? You already know because you've got a painted roof.
Bloody tint off, haven't I? Just got a f***ing wet bonnet.
No, it's cold. Hi.
Right, so here we go. First road test of the E93 with the Infinity airbox on.
What we're going to do, because we're a sensible owner, is warm it up.
Yeah.
Because I like having rod bearings and an engine that works.
That's why you bought an S65.
I don't like having any money, that's why I bought an S65. It's loud.
And 4 over there. Very nice.
It's a screamer!
You couldn't see that on camera, but we nearly died.
It's good.
So here we go, onto the A50 now.
It's nice. It feels more responsive underfoot.
That's not the first time we've felt that with an Infinity airbox, is it?
No, the GR86 it totally transformed the
it did.
throttle response, didn't it?
Yeah. I will say I can hear it, but I guess because we've got nothing behind our heads, that the exhaust is still sort of the dominating noise you hear, which I guess is always going to be the case.
I think so. I mean, I have got the 2-pipe mod, so there's 2-pipe and then there's 4-pipe, which is a little bit more crazy. But you know, you can just go for like the 1.5 or 1.75, and I do have the primary decats, which woke it up a lot more as well. So on a stock car, you're probably more likely to hear. It's raucous.
Yeah, that's brilliant, isn't it? Oh, you can really hear it snarl there, can't you? Really hear it sort of mid-range there. A real nice sort of snarl coming from the front.
Oh.
Yeah, that's lovely, that. Do you think it will be louder if we had the roof up?
We can put the roof up.
No, I mean, do you think that's a factor? Why we can hear the exhaust a bit more?
I think, with the roof up, it sort of dulls everything down.
Yeah.
As an E93 owner, I'll try and put the roof off whenever possible. Just because.
Well, that's why you bought it, isn't it?
Yeah. But the exhaust is always a dominating factor when the roof's off.
Mm-hmm.
Like a real bark.
Yeah, that's it. So a real snarl from the front. It's sort of, where was that? You think about 5,000-6,000 RPM?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely. That's really nice.
As it sort of comes on, I don't know if it's Vanos sort of VTEC kicking in.
Yeah, it just sort of comes on cam, doesn't it?
Yeah, and then it really shouts at you.
Yeah, it's brilliant. We've got a tunnel run again. It's a fantastic engine, this, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
so much fun.
Yeah.
Like is it everywhere where it feels a little bit stronger, or is it?
I think from like.
I guess we need to be careful what we say because it's not been on the dyno yet.
Yeah.
So you don't want to make yourself seem silly, but to be fair, the gains that we felt on the GR86 weren't necessarily what we saw on the dyno.
No.
Because you can't see throttle response on a dyno.
It can be a bit of placebo, can't it, as well?
Yeah.
Especially with the noise. It does feel more lively, sort of under 3 to 4.
Yeah. Which to be fair, we're going to struggle to see that on the dyno because the dyno doesn't really load it up until about 3 or 4, does it? So
no,
we might not see it.
You can hear like all the noise coming from that side of the engine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think plenum next, and it will really waken.
Yeah, I've heard them from outside with similar plenums on, and they sound wild, don't they? They really do. I mean, these S65s, they've got individual throttle bodies just like the old S54s did, and other previous M engines. It just makes them sound so good, and just helps that sort of like top end bias that these engines are known for. They're just real screamers. If you drive an Audi RS or something like that with a 4.2 in it, they're really sort of torquey, aren't they? Really like low down. They're really good, but they soon sort of run out of puff. These S65s and these E90 chassis Beamers, they don't
get going until like 4, like nothing happens, and then it's like, here we bloody go.
Yeah, that's it, and it just keeps going and keeps going. If you build the revs, it builds the power. It's fantastic.
You just got to wind this thing up, and like, I mean, it takes a bit of getting used to if you come from turbocharged cars, which I've had in the past.
Well, if you come from a Type R, This thing is like it's like a Type R engine on steroids.
It's like an S2000, I think.
Yeah.
I had an S2000 before this. I had an M3 before. Same generation. It's like a big S2000, really. Wind it up and enjoy party bike.
Right. So. All right.
Do you want me to rev it? That was nice.
Right, so now we're back at Tegiwa HQ. So let's get it back on the rollers and see where those gains are, if we've got any at all. I think we have.
Yeah. I don't actually care. It just sounds so good. So we've just dynoed it with the Infinity intake on. As we can see, it's made 397.1 horsepower, 283 pound-foot of torque. So yeah, on the face of things, it's lost like nearly 2 horsepower, a couple of pound-foot of torque, but it is nearly 4 degrees hotter than this morning. So
that will make quite a bit. It's what 4.5 degrees hotter than it was this morning. That will make quite a bit of difference to how it, not just the temperature of the air going in, but also the ignition timing that the ECU is going to move about to compensate for that. So in reality, like for like, I think we'd likely see a few horsepower gain fitting this, and Dave might have seen his magic 400 come up on the screen.
I think like the GR86 one we tested, if I was to now get this tuned, I've got the decats, I've got the large flow intake now, so you know, I've done everything that I can ready to optimize a tune. I'm probably going to maybe see a gain of like maybe 10 to 15 horsepower, I'd have thought, on an engine like this.
Yeah, it's not unrealistic at all. So if we overlay the graph from this morning, it's pretty much line on line. This here, we can just see it's just at the top there where it's going to be running the hottest, it's going to be pulling the timing out. That's where we're seeing this slight dip. But you know, we're revving it out a little bit further as well. It's holding on the power a little bit more. But yeah, it's pretty much line on line. It's, you know, the wheel horsepower is the same. We can see that from the drag lines here, we can see that the transmission, the drive shaft grease, everything is just a bit more up to temperature now. It's a little bit more just warmed up and flowing a bit easier. So that's where the lower losses come from on this. So it'd be lovely to have seen that 400 horsepower, but you know, in reality, I think you know,
it's a dyno, isn't it? And
yeah, that's it.
It's not all about figures. It was amazing to drive on the road. I can't wait to take it home. And
yeah, just while dynoing my M2 this morning, it jumped up 4 horsepower just from going from one run to the next. So it's not, you know, uncommon to see that sort of variation between runs.
Cool. So we're going to take this off now.
Yep.
Your M2.
M2's on.
Yeah.
Feeling a little bit nervous now.
Onto the heartbreaker. Right. So, to sum things up, we're very happy with our Infinity intakes, aren't we, Matt?
Absolutely, yeah. It's funny how different they are, really. I guess it's because of the different styles of the engine, but I think this wins the noise category by far. I think just by design, this sounds a little bit more subtle. The turbos muffle things in general, but it definitely adds to it still. It does still sound better for those intakes being fitted, whereas this thing is really nice and snarly, isn't it? Yeah. Especially with the roof down, you can really appreciate the, you know, the snarliness of that, you know, bonnet vent you've got.
So one thing we need to address, I think, is the price point, because I see on the Facebook groups all the time, oh, it's mental that you'd ever spend that kind of money on an intake. But when you think about it, this was a 60 grand car new, there or thereabouts. Matt's, yours was probably a 60 grand car new.
Yeah, I think.
So 1,600 quid, and that's roughly what they retail for, both these intakes.
Yeah.
It's relative to the car, isn't it?
You also have to remember that this is a naturally aspirated car that's already at 100 horsepower per litre. You know, this is a turbo car that's, you know, getting on for 150 horsepower per litre. You need to realise that it takes a lot of time, a lot of research, a lot of trying and failing with different revisions. We see, you know, we've worked with Infinity here at Tegiwa to develop a few kits, and you know, we see revision 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, it takes a good bit for them to finally end up at a product that they're happy to sell, happy to put their name on. You know, the fact is that the factory induction kits on both of these cars
So good.
are very, very good. You know, and also, you know, because of that, you know, because of the fitment quality as well is brilliant. So as you know, as someone who works on the spanners, that is very good for me. The thing is that everybody sort of knows that. You get the higher end of the market like these and other brands that are sort of similar, and they hold their money, don't they?
Oh yeah, you're only going to lose probably maybe 20 to 30% max.
Yeah,
I
if
think.
that. They're always going to be worth good money, and they're always going to be really sought after.
For sure. And you've got your certificate of authenticity.
Absolutely.
Show it's real.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Infinity Design catalogue is available on Tegiwa.com. If you think they're expensive, we do offer finance options, so take a look at them. And to be honest, since I've fitted it and driven it, I've not thought about the price once.
No.
So
No, absolutely not.
it doesn't matter. You can get them in gloss and matte finish, depending on your preference. I'd like to thank Matt for once again joining us and taking the time out to spend the day with us at Tegiwa, for fitting my intake, doing the dynos, and generally being a good guy. And yeah, thank you for watching. Any other videos? Matt's obviously got his M2, I've got my M3, so any more parts you want to see tested,
Yeah.
let us know in the comments and we'll try our best to do that.
Yeah, I'd love to fit some more bits to this for sure.
Yeah, so like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time around. Thank you guys. That's high five, Matt. Oh, that is a
Chris.
connection.